like a good idea to remind ourselves, Johnny Palmer, of what's gone on earlier on in the race. Started in cold conditions.
Yeah, it was pretty chilly this morning, wasn't it? Not very much higher than freezing conditions, 1 or 2 degrees as we drove to the track. Cars were put away to bed overnight with the car covers on, left on the main straight, and weren't allowed to be touched during the intervention period under parc fermé conditions. Nice and bright though this morning, and everyone, after a good night's sleep, eager to get going with the 9 hours that remained in the 5th edition of the Mugello 12. Obviously important to get the cars up to temperature steadily as well, go through the restart procedure correctly and just peer into the driving wheels of cars to make sure that nothing was awry ahead of a long spell. We finally did get the race underway at 9 o'clock this morning, after drivers patiently waiting to get going. Very civilised way to do endurance racing this. The 188 AC Motorsport Audi had a go at leading the race yesterday, and with 9 hours on the clock then, important to get tyre temperature over the first, or over the 2 formation laps. Split start between the GT Series and the TCE Series. Individual races held on the same track at the same time. But this is the first TCE Series event ever to be held at Mugello, because the championship didn't visit Italy, or at least this part of Italy, last year. Spectators are plenty as well at a very spectator-friendly circuit, 5.2 kilometres, but because it wraps itself around itself, you actually don't need to travel very far for very different views of several corners. So, an intense restart. Amazingly, of all the classes on show this weekend, we had battles with leaders on the same lap in each of the 8 classes. After just 3 hours of running on Friday, it was nip and tuck through that first corner, with Matteo Magliucelli just about getting the leap ahead of the 77 of Phil Keane, the Barwell Motorsport Lamborghini Huracan, as then the Ferrari headed down towards the first few corners. There were distractions of plenty as well, though, for certain spectators, as the 88 Audi, still missing part of that rear wheel arch, continued on. Rick Brokers with some cracking stints, and dicing aplenty. Marcus Pommer at the wheel of that car as well. We were enthralled by a battle between Jiri Pisaric and Marcus Pommer, as the 11 Ferrari continued to lead. The 77 did have a spell out front when Phil Keane and Patrick Kuyala put in some good times, but then the Ferrari concentrating on building a gap, building a full laps lead for Josef Kral and for the Jiri Pisaric stints. And then when Matteo Magliucelli got back on board, couldn't have been further from the truth about this issue with the balance of performance that the Italian flagged up at the start of the weekend. Perfectly fine in race trim, and it really did romp away from the field. We have had 1 or 2 incidents with tyres going bang, particularly at the end of the main straight for the NKPP Porsche and for the number 77 Lamborghini. That suffered a fuel pump issue and a huge blowout for a left rear Hankook tyre. Well controlled in the end by Patrick Kuyala, but he had the best part of a lap